Hi, everyone. It's Reiki Master Jojo Empathic here, Jordan Johnson from jojoempathic.com. Tonight is a free webinar going over my Reiki course. So if you are interested in joining my Reiki course, this is a perfect class for you, webinar for you to join. Let me just silence my phone. I'll wait for anyone that wants to join. I'm going to get set up here, running a little bit behind. You can go ahead and start posting any questions that you have regarding the course in the live chat. Okay, so let's see here. The first link that I'm going to post is the actual link to the course. So when you go to my website, jojoempathic.com, at the top you'll see a header, and you're going to click Reiki Training. This webinar will switch to Zoom format where I can share my screen. You will start to see me do more and more webinars. Bear with me. So this is my first time doing a webinar like this where I'm going over my course. Today has been super busy, so going as fast as I can here. Bear with me. I think I'm set up now though. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so I have a Reiki course. It's an hour and 42 minutes long. It's $299, and when you purchase it, you are enrolling directly. So as soon as you enroll, you have instant access to the course. Now, you will have 2 days to complete the course. So I'd say whenever you're ready is when you want to actually sign up. You don't want to just be thinking about it and then just, sign up for it and let it go and then say, oh, I was busy. Can I have more time? No, when you're ready, sign up and enroll when you have 2 days where you can sit down and watch the course in full. It's not too long. Again, it's an hour and 42 minutes. And it's really good. Okay, so the first portion is me going over what is Reiki. Reiki is universal life force energy being directed consciously. I go over in the manual that's provided with the course. You do get a handout, all of the research that backs Reiki. There is a lot of research that is helpful to know if you are looking to become a Reiki practitioner or Reiki master, so that you can stay educated on the work you're doing. So Reiki has been proven to help patients with pain relief. Reiki has been incorporated in hospitals to help patients that are suffering from chronic illnesses to feel not only relief but healing. We're in an amazing time where in Western medicine and around the world, Reiki is actually introduced into hospitals because it works. And if you've never had a Reiki session, you should definitely get one. You want to get one by someone that's trusted. I can remember going through my spiritual awakening, and I was going through such dramatic shifts within my mind, my consciousness, and my body that I sought out help in many directions. So I actually saw doctors in Western medicine, from a regular doctor to specialized doctors in many different fields. I had all types of scans. I tried therapy. I had hypnotherapy, clinical therapy. I've tried all types of different Western medicine modalities, but I also incorporated Reiki. So when you go through a spiritual awakening, it is really confusing. You are detoxing. Essentially, spiritual awakening is a remembrance. So with that, you're going from a lower level of consciousness to a higher level of consciousness. So if you think about the metaphor of life, if you go from, let's say, an entry level job to an expert level job or skill level, you're going to have to work at it. You earn it. And it takes time for you to go from here to here. And it's the same with spiritual awakening. You are triggered usually through trauma. You can be triggered into spiritual awakening also from meeting a soulmate, from a divine timing, a time in your life contract, where it's just time to wake up. And when you go through the awakening, you're like, oh my gosh, everything I've been taught was a lie. And everything that I once resonated with, it's really not my authentic self. And you grieve. It's a grievance. It's a mourning of the old and a welcoming of the new. It's a detox so that higher energy can flow through. And when you go through spiritual awakening, you usually have a lot of health crisis. It is a crisis mode. And so when I went through my awakening, that's when I first got Reiki. It was at a reliable Lightworkers Center in the Colony, Texas. One of my favorite shops in the Dallas area that I have stayed loyal to for many years. And at this specific shop, they not only offer Reiki, but they offer color therapy where they can shine different lights over your chakras to help balance the energy centers. And it was really transformative for me to get Reiki. Now, when I first had my Reiki session, I was sitting like this, and the practitioner was working behind me and just touching and tapping. Reiki is known as light touch, okay? There's two different types of Reiki you can do. You could do light touch with hands on, or you could do light touch remote and distant healing. Now, when you do light touch and you're actually touching your patient or client, like I mentioned, my Reiki master just tapped different meridians and points on my back. There's also something called laying on of hands, which is part of Reiki. Now, I teach through the Usai method. I was attuned for levels 1 and 2 and masters through the Usai method. So with the Usai method, there's different hand placements that you can use, and I provide all of that in the manual, as well as a live demonstration, where your hands are literally on your client. Now, you have the option also to hover over your patient as well. So there's different things you can do. You can do hands-on, hovering over, or touch, literally, light touch, or distant. And when you're doing distant healing, you're doing usually different hand movements still, but just not within the same space. And I break all of that down for you in this course, okay? So level 1 is the foundations and philosophies of Reiki. I go over all of that with you. And again, you have 48 hours to access it. Now, part of the philosophy and understanding of Reiki is that basically, like, nobody owns it. It's universal and it's intelligent and it can help anyone. And when you interact with Reiki, you actually become more one, more enlightened. Now, when I had my Reiki session, back to that, I did actually start to feel physical healing in my body. It did trigger a mass detox. It did trigger me going along to find my soul's purpose and leaving the corporate world and saying, enough with this. It's making me sick to have to be in a 9 to 5. For me, it was like 9 in the morning to 8 at night type of job, because that's just who I am. I still do that for my own business, but for me in a corporate world, it made me very sick. I had to smoke cigarettes just to get through. Happy hour was like a must for me back in the day. And I just wasn't happy. I had depression, I had anxiety. Although I was in a position where my career was using communication and negotiation and sales, I struggled with conversations with people. I struggled to be able to speak. I would sometimes stutter. My throat chakra was closed. And usually, most people have a closed throat chakra until they awaken. And then when you awaken, not everybody makes it through that. A lot of people go backwards because it's so intense. So intense. And so their throat stays closed. You have to open your throat chakra and part of your spiritual awakening. Reiki is perfect for that. Okay. So I struggled. And when I got my Reiki session, I'll never forget the Reiki master. She gave me a ruby crystal. It was a raw stone. Ruby is one of my favorite stones to have. I love all of my crystals raw and not cut. It was just this beautiful pattern of a stone. And you can do that. So in this course, I give you different options and tips to how to make your business unique. Like I just mentioned, my Reiki master gave me a ruby stone. That meant so much to me. You can do that. You might have gifts for your clients if you meet with them in person, whether it be a feather. I break down, to have water and tissues nearby, all of the ethics, all of the techniques that you need to know in order to make the session really impactful. So back to my session. From there, I shifted completely. And I will say that I still struggled afterwards. And I would say that's my journey because I learned how to remove disease from my own body in my spiritual awakening. That was my journey. Now, for everyone, it may not be the same. I want to acknowledge that. But for me, it just completely detoxed me and showed me higher grounds in understanding of energy healing, the body, the biofield, chakras. Crystals were a huge part of my spiritual awakening, like I just mentioned. And the importance of following fulfillment in order to have peace with your energy field. So Reiki pushed me in the direction of my highest calling. It was super important for me as an assistant tool to get me to the higher ground when I was so low. And then there came a point in my spiritual awakening where I was dealing with really painful ovarian cyst. And I swear by my Reiki session because it gave me the okay to know there's other ways of healing aside from Western medicine. The reason I believe that I had developed cyst was from birth control that I was prescribed in my later teen years that I was on for a few years. And when I got off of it, I developed cysts that were not there until after. And for me, doctors said that, the medicine for it is birth control. And I was like, heck no, I'm not doing this. This is what made me sick. So in my spiritual awakening, it was a come to Jesus moment. I was on my hands and knees. And thankfully, because I had Reiki, I was open. I was aware that this modality is super powerful. It works and it transforms life and it can actually heal your physical body. So that's what led me into communicating with my angels and laying on of my hands on myself. From that point, it was a wrap for me. Like my healing journey really accelerated. Whenever you have a mass in your body, there's usually a blocked chakra. So you have to understand chakras in order for any type of spiritual healing, period. You begin to interact with the chakras through the clairs, okay? Through the clairsense. So you get into the multidimensional brain and multidimensional senses in order to be able to access yourself on a spiritual level. And that's exactly what I did. I was able to remove the blockage, remove the cyst from my body, and slowly but surely, depression cleared, anxiety cleared. I also swear by meeting my spirit team. Okay, a lot of people are lost. They don't feel connected because they're not connected with their spirit team or angels. Okay, if you not only feel lost, but you don't know who's really guiding you. You don't know who's really influencing your thoughts. So for me, this was me getting on my horse in a huge sense of empowerment. Started to finally heal mental illness, heal my body. I've always suffered with chronic joint pain. Really starting in early teen years is when I received scans from Children's Hospital. I was very young. I would be in so much pain in my back, in my joints, and throughout my entire body. And so this also shifted for me during my spiritual awakening and after having Reiki. And so it propelled me into a download from an angel. And my angel showed me laying my hands on someone. And for me, that vision, it scared me because it's like, who am I to have this type of anointing? I'm a rebel. I'm Aquarius. It's Aquarius season. I'm a rebel. I have my tongue pierced. I've got all types of piercings and tattoos, and I like to twerk, and I'm different. I'm out there, and me give healing like this, me have an anointing. So I was like, oh, this is crazy. But when you have a download from an angel, you know what you know. I knew that I had to get into the healing arts. So you can see how Reiki is such a powerful tool for self-development, spiritual development, and soul fulfillment, especially if you are a healer and you're here to get into doing this for other people. So from that vision, I began to study tarot. And from there, I began to study psychic mediumship and empathic development. And that just snowballed and eventually took me right out of the corporate world that made me feel lost and exhausted all of the time and just like, this sucks, answering to someone else and being in the rat race and being in traffic and being sick. It just was like, it wasn't me. It propelled me out. And so once I started my business in 2022, I got on Etsy in 2021. In 2022, I actually began my first Reiki course training. Now, where I studied psychic development is where I took my first Reiki course. This was not the first place that I had received healing from. I'll backtrack a bit. On my journey to spiritual development and awakening, I actually began to dive into astrology. Like I said, I was into like medical Western medicine and spiritual medicine, full blown. Like, I got to help myself because doctors, like, they're not really helping, and surgery I'm not for. And I know there's a higher ground. I studied biology, and I grew up Christian. And so I have always felt that divine healing, miracle healing, spiritual healing, spontaneous healing, all of that exists. I just didn't have the keys to get into it. I didn't know how to get into it. So I saw an astrologer who's very well known. Both my astrologer and energy healing practitioner teacher and my psychic mediumship empathic development teacher are both world renowned mystics. They're both located in Western New York State. Shout out to where I'm from. And world renowned and respected. And my astrologer was offering something called, I think it was like, I don't know what she would call it. I think it was like a quantum energy healing session. And it was super powerful. She connected me with my birth chart, my natal chart, and she gave me this powerful session. Now, she's also a sound healer, amazing sound healer. So she does the big gongs and tuning forks and singing bowls, but really gongs and tuning forks, I believe. And so it just opened me up to this modality that I saw a shift within my own physical body. Like I mentioned, I had so much pain, hormone imbalance, depression, anxiety. I have really crazy family history on both sides of my family. My genes need to be understood, and I need to understand that the environment is important, and I'm very sensitive. Both of my grandparents had MS, both of them on my maternal side. My mom has MS, okay? So for me, I felt an urgent call to make sure I got a grip of myself, my environment, my cells, okay? And that's really what led me into all of this different discovery. And to feel a literal shift in my body, I was sold. I was sold, and I was clairvoyant. I've always been, and I didn't really know. So I had a knowing through my first healing session. I had a knowing through my first Reiki session. You can start to see the progression of where I am today and how I teach. So, in my method of teaching. So when I studied psychic development, I then was attuned by my psychic teacher, mediumship teacher. And through my training, I was trained through something called psychic surgery. And my teacher is a well-known psychic surgeon, to the point of where I studied under. If I were to, it's known that if I were to go to like Roswell Hospital and ask to do Reiki there, it'd be like they welcome my teacher's students at the hospital in Buffalo, because she's so respected and has had such powerful healings. So, in Roswell, I believe, is one of the first hospitals that actually has introduced Reiki into the hospital system in America, which is like crazy not to like storm on Western New York, but that's a very innovative move that I'm proud to know that, where I'm from, that was innovative. Okay. So, it was fitting for me to become a Reiki practitioner because as I branched out into my offerings of my business, I was like, Spirit, what am I going to be known for? People were seeking me as a medical intuitive. And it freaked me out. I have a natural ability to read bodies. I'm very empathic, so I can feel what other people are feeling in their bodies in my own. Meaning, if I am walking with somebody, or I'm at the store talking to someone, they have a headache. I'm like, does your head hurt? And they're like, how'd you know? I'm like, I feel it. Does your back hurt? They're like, how'd you know? I'm like, I feel it. Okay. That makes for a very good healer because you can target and locate in the body where there's imbalance. Empathy is one of the most powerful, intuitive, intelligent levels that you can have. Empathy is overall, just like love is one of the most powerful vibrations you can hold. Okay. It's one of the biggest energy manipulators, which is important for healing. So I was attuned to Reiki. People were seeking me as a medical intuitive. I had my Reiki session, my light touch, which was very different than the way I learned it. I had witnessed my astrologer give a powerful sound healing, quantum energy healing session, and I took all of this on top of what I was gaining in experience as a psychic medium and medical intuitive to create what I began to call a quantum energy healing session that does incorporate Reiki. So if we're trying to understand Reiki, I recommend it if you are trying to become an energy healer of any sort, whether it's quantum healing, psychic surgery, take a Reiki course. Take this Reiki course, okay? Because I will break down psychic surgery for you in this, but I break it down even further in my quantum healing course, which you can also take too. But I say have this education, the background. This is an ancient form of healing that, many of us believe, all of the ancient mystics were into, like Jesus, the Buddha, okay, Muhammad, Krishna. I mean, everybody practiced light touch healing. It's not new. It's not new age. It is very ancient, okay? And because it's universal, it can't be owned. That's very important to the philosophy of Reiki. Every time it's taught, there's a unique twist on it. And that's important to the philosophy of Reiki, okay? So my teaching of Reiki is from just everything I explained. Okay, my own journey of going through pain, of illness, suffering, watching family suffer, and receiving healing, and doing faith healing and spiritual healing and trust. Okay, and then I began to read the body more in depth, and I saw where us in the collective suffer the most in terms of chakra blockages and putting your hand to your mouth and what we're doing to ourselves and the undoing. And so that's how I got here. And Reiki is broken down into two, basically, when you learn Reiki, it's basically two different sections. You have the levels 1 and 2, which are one. It's one class. So one course. And then you have the masters, which is a second. So levels 1 and 2. Levels 1 is going over the philosophy. Number 2 is the demonstration and the how-to. And then it's basically like some people will say you should go so many hours before you become a master. That's different per person. You might get your Reiki levels 1 and 2, and then weeks later take the course for your masters and get the attunement then. I personally waited, I believe it was 3 years between my levels 1 and 2 attunement and my master's attunement. So it was in 2022 that I had the first, and then in 2025. So yeah, 3-year difference for me, because that's what Spirit told me. Spirit was like, you need the practice and then level up. So interestingly enough, I want to say about 3 months after levels 1 and 2 attunement, I was going through a dark night again. And that'll happen when you get attuned too, that I needed my own help. So I actually started to attune myself. If you go to the beginning of this, when you hear that I'm a rebel and Aquarius, okay? I attuned myself. Why? Because I needed help and I wasn't going to wait on anybody else. And at that point, I was so scared in my awakening. I was so ridden in fear. I was afraid of teachers. I was so afraid of teachers. I was afraid of everything at that point of my clearing journey. So I'm like, F it. I need to help myself. So I attuned myself with symbols, which put me on another Kundalini. But 3 years later, I'm like, it's actually time to really start teaching this, because I started to give really powerful healings and wanted to advance myself and get attuned by someone else. And so in spiritual development, when you are going from levels of consciousness, it's known that you don't get to the next level without a teacher that initiates you. So there's like the exoteric religion or knowledge is where you believe God is outside of you. This is where religion's at, and many people, most. Then you get into mesoteric knowledge and wisdom, and this is where you find that, like, God is all things, and you become more enlightened, and you get to the top, which is esoteric. And you're saying that God's within you, and you can really reach new heights in your wisdom, in your understanding, in your service, in your sense of unity. Okay. So to get from the next level, you do need a teacher. You do need an initiator. You're the initiate. Okay. So I received my master's and began giving even more powerful healings. So I'll kind of break down some of the healings that I've done that are really powerful. I already told you a lot about myself, but with my clients, some of the testimonies I've received, and you can check them all out on my website. One of the most powerful things that people experience and report is instant shifts in pain relief, illness clearing, clarity, groundedness, and joy. Literally, so many clients have reported they just feel happy afterwards. Okay, I break down in the course what Reiki is actually doing and how it works. It is relaxing you, and you are conscious, and you as the master or practitioner, you're relaxing your patient, and you're sending consciousness through, universal energy through. So that's very similar to sound healing. When you're relaxed, the frequencies can now permeate through and release distortions. Usually the higher vibration does that to lower vibrations. And it's the same for Reiki, but you don't have any other tool other than your mind. And Ki, and is also known as prana or Holy Spirit, is the universe. Okay, that's what you're sending. It's intelligent, and we as Reiki practitioners and Reiki masters trust that it knows exactly what needs to be done for our patients. We send it and it goes where it needs to go. Okay, we don't even need to necessarily know. We're just sending healing energy, which is very different than psychic surgery. Psychic surgery is actually removing disease from the body. You're removing energy. So for all of my quantum healers that I train, this is foundation. I have all of my quantum healers get an attunement, because this is important. This is an important step as a healer. Now, Once you have an understanding of how Reiki works through this course, I break it all down for you, the philosophy, how it started. We go over the pillars, some of the key pillars. There's 5 principles. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I'll be grateful. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I'll be kind to every living being. So there are, you have to have a level of maturity and really do this to be of service. Okay, so when I work with healers, the number one thing I look for is, are you here to be of service? Or are you here to serve yourself? It's a difference. And your healing will be more in depth if you're here to be of service than to serve yourself. Okay, so I give you some really interesting tools to expand your healing toolkit. Like I was mentioning before, I go over the ethics of Reiki, and then we go into depth on attunement and Reiki practice. I go over the logistics. I go over remote healing. I go over all of the symbols with you. I go over energy awareness, and also like different technology that can assist your sessions, like aura technology, where you can, have maybe like an aura fit to give a scan of your patient first, and then afterwards, your session, you can go ahead and do another aura to prove and kind of put things on paper, the shift of energy. So I go over unique things like this that makes my course, it makes it different. It makes it special, mainly because of, like I was saying, my anointing, the depth of healing that I'm able to give, and also my experience, as I've shared. So I go over the procedures of how to give the session, Kundalini and side effects, management and ethics, getting yourself out of it, helping your client get ready for this, hands-on, safety and boundaries. I go over like the disclaimers that you may want to have. It's important to look at the legality of Reiki where you're at, and post-session guidance as well. Okay, and then we move into level 2 of the certificate. So it's preparing yourself and your client, getting ready for the actual session. I go over all of the symbols for Reiki level 2. And they're just powerful. I send Reiki to literally everything that I need. Like if something isn't going right with even like the washer, I send Reiki to it. You can send it to pets, animals. So taking this course will open up a whole business for you, not just with humans, but with animals too, inanimate objects. It's unlimited. And like I said, with the Reiki philosophy, you're supposed to put your own twist on this. Nobody owns it. So I'm going to go over all of that and break it down for you. And also give you some tips from my own experience to make like client communication a lot easier, and to prepare yourself. I'll give you all of the tips that I use to like get myself ready before I go into Reiki sessions. Okay. And then I give you a demonstration. So I actually have a live participant, like an actual recording of me. This was with my assistant at the time. And I go over how to actually give a Reiki session. Then I actually do a live session and record it for you. I recorded it for you. So it's 3 parts to the course. Everything I just went over, levels 1 and 2. Second portion is how to actually do it with a live demonstration. And the third part of the course is you get to actually witness me in action giving a live session. Now, my assistant was a client at first, and that's how we met. But she did give an honest, testimony of what she experienced in that session. And I believe she also shared what she received from other sessions too, before even like being on camera. So really powerful. This is a really good course. It's super interesting, especially from my perspective, I would say. And I'll share now a little bit of the testimonies that I've received from people that I've healed. I can remember giving a healing session and people having spirits leave and being like, oh, and like their body shaking, and somatic release of spirits. Somatic release is a big one. I have given healings. I gave a demonstration of Reiki to a woman that was suffering from paralysis, and she was able to move the very next day, have voluntary movements, which is very significant. I've given healings to pets that have had turnarounds. I've given healing to situations that have turned around. So I've given really, really powerful healing, not only on myself, but to others, pets. And I also send healing to like worldwide events, even. I'm always praying. I do consider my business a ministry. And through this course, I'm looking for others that are aligned with that soul's purpose as well. Like I said, I'm looking for individuals that are here to serve. Don't sign up if you're not here to serve. If you feel, like I mentioned with my story, you received a vision, a knowing, a download, a call to service, this is your opportunity to act. This is your opportunity to stand with an established healer in my EAH Center. So originally, my EAH Center, which is short for Earth Angel Healing Center, because I say we're all like earth angels in a sense. My teacher was always like, there's a difference between an angel and a human in the hierarchy. I can't argue that. But I remember there was a time where I had an apartment and it had huge high ceilings. I was in the attic of like a Victorian old New England mansion. But there were several apartments in the big home. And I had really tall ceilings. And I was sitting at my desk and I was remote viewing myself and my angels. And when I looked at myself from outside of my body at me sitting, my angel was completely over me like a huge tube of light. And that's where I first got the impression of like certain healers being earth angels. Because from that vision, from that session of remote viewing myself with my angel, I said, I am my angel. I'm within my angel's frequency and field. And it was such a transformative experience. So I've named my healing center Earth Angel Healing Center. You can also consider it short for Empathic Ascension Center. Okay, so calling all empaths, calling all individuals that feel they have a calling to serve and maybe don't know where to start. Okay, so you can take this course from the comfort of your home. And then after the course is over, what you're going to want to do is email me. That's the second part to the course certification. Once you email me, we set up a date and time for your attunement call. Now, attunements are really powerful. They're almost even more powerful than giving Reiki itself. So some people have been known to struggle with fertility, get an attunement, and then all of a sudden be fertile again, literally almost going premenopause and then start bleeding again. It will transform your body. What the attunement's going to do is clear out anything that needs to leave so that the higher vibration can now flow through you to others, because that's what Reiki is. It's channeled healing. I go over how to work with angels. I go over in my quantum healing course. If you're really trying to take this to the next level, take the quantum healing, because I go over how to meet your guides and angels. And I mean, you don't have to take that whole course, but if you take this course with Reiki, understand how to work with your guides and angels. I call that out. Now, this is what makes my course different, because you can go take a Reiki course somewhere and it doesn't talk about guides and angels, but I call it out like, how are you working in the spiritual field and don't even have discernment of your own guides? That's not a woke person. How are you giving healing to others and you don't even know how to recognize or acknowledge their guides or angels? That's not okay. So we need to keep ethics. We need to keep morals with our practice, and connecting with spirit is key. Spirit communication is key. Spirit will guide the session. That's how I teach this course. Get yourself out of the way and let spirit run through you. And that's where you'll have the most powerful transformative sessions. People will go and tell their family and bring their family to you. Okay, trust me on that. So once you get your attunement, you're going to detox. The moment you decide to take this course, you might start to actually have detox symptoms. I break all of that down for you. So Kundalini detox can be extreme. A lot of times it's known to be like flu-like symptoms. Okay, you'll get drainage in the sinuses. You can feel weak in the body. And some healers are actually detoxers, which is a very, very powerful healer. So when you give a healing session, especially like psychic surgery where you're removing disease, your client or your patient may actually not feel better afterwards. Don't freak out. I give you the information and knowing on how to handle those situations, because it actually is a really good sign that person's purging. They need to release all of that. And as healers, we have to get out of the way. It's free will with healing. So it's that person's decision, good for them, to make that decision and get a Reiki session. And this is what's needed. So I go over how to console those that are feeling Kundalini or detox symptoms from the sessions you give, okay? Because many people that are attracted and aligned and resonate with this course are powerful healers, whether you know it yet or not. And you're probably a detox healer, and you'll have really huge transformative healings. And I'm excited to see that. So once you get your attunement, you're all set. And the attunement call is really easy. So it should only be about 10 minutes, but I take time to answer any of your questions from the actual digital course. Because again, it is digital. We're not face-to-face. So once we get on the phone, then we can start with your questions and do the attunement, or we can do the attunement first and then get your questions after. Now, if you're international, don't worry about the phone call. We can meet, we can have a phone call over, WhatsApp. We can have a phone call over Zoom. The video doesn't even have to be on. And again, it's so quick. For your attunement, you're just sitting with your hands facing up on your thigh. You're breathing, you're centered, and I'm sending in attunement symbols into your crown, okay? Now in the masters, which you learn in levels 1 and 2 of the course, because it's the same course, different attunements at different time, okay? That's the way it was taught to me through amazing world-renowned healer. And that's the way I teach it, and it works, okay? So same course, different attunement symbols, and at different times. So that's how it works. It's very easy. We do it over the phone, and then you're off on your way. And immediately within 24 hours, you will receive a digital certificate. Now, I can mail you the certificate if you're in the US, but where it starts to get like a little bit much is international. Shipping for a certificate can be like hundreds of dollars, which is crazy. So if you want like a hand signed, I have a logo stamp too for my certificates, the paper ones. I do charge a fee for international shipping. Otherwise, if you're in the United States, I can go ahead and include a paper copy if you'd like. I would just need your PO box, your address, your mailing address in the attunement email. So let me know that as well. And I have all of that in the course to remind you. Okay. And that's that. Then you're on your way. Okay. And again, I teach you to let spirit lead this. So you don't have to know every step of the way. A lot of times we're afraid to get into the healing arts. And like I shared my story, I'm like, who am I to do this? And trust me, there were a lot of people that were close to me that said the same things. Who the heck do you think you are? It's horrible. They're no longer in my life, but that's what you'll face. And I go over a lot of that, especially in my Quantum Healers course. So I will have a webinar about that. And I'll have a webinar about my journey with JoJo packages too. So I'm getting into webinars every week moving forward in 2026. Subscribe, like this channel, drop a comment afterwards with any questions that you have about the course. And then you can always check in on my YouTube when I will have the next webinar if you're interested in asking questions before you actually sign up. And feel free also to shoot me an email with any of your questions before you sign up too. My email is jojo@jojoempathic.com. I'm going to put that in here real quick because I believe there's a replay. So shoot me an email if you don't want to attend a webinar. Webinars are basically just going over the course. I'm going to be saying the same exact thing like every week. So if you have a private question, please reach out. I'd love to support you. And you'll get off and be on your way. And when you do that, usually there's a shift that happens. Like I said, the shift happens usually as soon as you sign up. You'll start to notice as a Reiki practitioner, a Reiki master, that animals will come to you too. Sick people will come to you more often. Animals will come to you. Sick animals will come to you naturally. Remember, the universe is all things. So you're signaling that you're ready. Universe hears. No matter where you are, no matter how hidden you feel you are, universe is all things. This is a stimulation. I break all of that down for you in the course. So congratulations to those that are going to embark on this journey. And regardless of where you're at, you can begin now to work at my EAH Center. So the EAH Center will put you on my website, okay, which does get a lot of traffic and internationally. I do have a radio show, okay, News for the Soul Radio, and a lot of other opportunities coming as well in 2026 and beyond. So this will help you to advertise your business. That's important to me as a healer and teacher, that I'm not only helping you to empower yourself and helping you to go empower others, but also I'm lifting you up, okay? That's important to me, and giving you the space to be you, show out, serve deeply. And so I'm not like holding your hand, but essentially I am. My roots to your roots, okay, as we ground and we serve together. So you keep 100% of the profits at the EAH Center. I love that, okay? There is a membership fee annually. It's small, it's doable, and it helps support, it's like, you know, the fees associated with business, okay? So you get to keep it all, and you can advertise your business, and we begin to grow a very large healing community. Quantum healers will also be showcased on there as well. I'm looking for and to attract with healers of all sorts. So Reiki practitioners, Reiki masters, quantum healers, sound healers, whatever your unique skill is, whatever your unique service is, I want you there, okay? Let's grow this into a massive energy healing hub where we're serving very deeply. I'm dedicated in this life to help paralyzed people. I'm dedicated in this life. I want to help the homeless deeply. I'm writing a book on homelessness, and I feel the root causes of homelessness are in the heart and the root chakra. And it can affect everyone. And there's 8 phases of homelessness that I claim in this book. And the first phase of homelessness is when you actually have a roof over your head, when you actually have home security. So, and that can be literally anyone. And it's a crisis right now, physically, but even in phase 1, it's a huge crisis. So what collective suffering are you looking to end? These are the questions you want to ask yourself and sit with spirit about to see if getting in the healing arts is for you. And if it is, and if there is something on your heart that you want to help transform, join me and join us. And the thing is, with the EAH Center is, I want to do more than just offer healings. Like, I'm looking for people to join me so we can do joint shows together, whether it's on the radio or my potential TV show coming soon, or YouTube or social media or events in person or virtual. I'm looking to build a community of people. So if this speaks to you, let me know and join, okay? And like I was saying about me feeling like me, be a healer, I'm like, I don't fit in the box. Like, people are they're going to be throwing rocks at me as a reverend. They're going to be throwing it, ready to rip me. And, you know, and you have to tune that out and focus on source. You have to focus on your heart. You have to focus on the bigger picture. You have to do what you're called to do. If you want to serve, the world needs you, and you have to get the ego out of it. You have to get all of that fear out of it, so that you can do what you're called to do, so that you can complete your life contract, and you can do it. That's where I was wanting to go with this, is a lot of times we feel like we're not good enough or we can't do it. You can do it. You really can. And I want to help support you to get into the confidence level that it takes to go ahead and give your own public healing. So that's the course. I put the link in the description box. I was pulling up a date here. That's what I'm scrolling through here. So this course right now is digital. I'm going to tell you that when I filmed it, I was undergoing a hair transformation. I'm just going to put it like that. Like, my hair looks crazy. And I know it's not about me, but like I'm like, I have to refilm this. I have to refilm this. And it's honestly like I've been wanting to get a class in person. When I filmed it, it's so the first levels 1 and 2, or the course part where it's like going over all the material and everything. That's me sitting like at my desk at my old office filming, and then you see me in the office giving the healing session with my assistant and the camera lady, which was another volunteer. So I'm going to be hosting I want to do a group class. I have a student now locally that I work with continue on a continual basis. And so we're available on the 25th of February, 2026. So that's next month, about 4 or 5 weeks away. This is a Wednesday. We're thinking to meet at, I believe, 6 p.m. And I'm going to say to reserve 2.5 to 3 hours for the course filming. Anyone that wants to come to the in-person filming of the next release of this course, which is the exact same material. So you can take it digitally now, or you can save 50% off and join me in person if you're local. Now, everyone that comes locally, I will say you have to be a willing participant. Now, my student now said that they would be my volunteer for my actual demonstration, but everyone that's going to be in the group class, if you have questions, it's going to be on my course. It's going to be published. So everyone there has to be willing for participation in the publishing of this course. It's going to be fun. I'll have water, refreshments for you guys, and some snacks. So this, again, the save the date, it's going to be February 25th, 6 p.m. So I'd say it's probably 6 to 8. Reserve that time. It'll be 2 hours of filming. And then one by one, whoever's there, I'm just going to go ahead and do the attunement in person right after. Maybe you can't stay, but you want to come in person. So you can obviously like schedule a phone attunement whenever. But if you just want to like take the course at that time and stay afterwards for an attunement, you're welcome to. So I'm thinking this is going to be really fun. And so it'll be in probably like a circle. The room we'll be in there's like a large modular sofa and some chairs. We'll kind of just all be there. Camera will be on me going over the course in depth. Then I'll have the healing table, and that'll be filmed me going over hand demonstrations and an actual session. So it'll be a really fun event, and I'm giving you half off. So it'll be $150 for the class and your attunement. You can't beat that price if you want to come in person. So February 25th, 6 to 8 p.m., really 6 to 8 p.m. Yes. What time is it? Yeah, 6 to 8. And it'll be great. So if you don't want to come in person, just watch the digital course now. And if you have any questions or want to sign up for the in-person, please reach out, jojo@jojoempathic.com. We'll get you on the list and get you your reservation set. And I'm super excited about that. So that's all I've got for you guys today. If there's no questions, wrap it up real quick. You can take the digital course at any time, digital download. It does come with the e-manual with pictures in my book, my e-manual of all the different hand movements. I have you covered with everything you need to know to give a powerful, powerful Reiki session. And if you are looking to join us in person, please do. Save 50% off, and that's February 25th, 6 to 8 p.m. Okay? So that's all I've got for you. If you're watching afterwards, please like this video, share to anyone that you know that's ready to serve and wants to serve through Reiki healing. And maybe you have a Reiki practitioner already, but you need your master's and want to work with me. I can give you that attunement as well, but you do have to take that course. So I'm looking to work with Reiki levels 1 and 2 that already even have the existing attunement and certification. Okay, so thank you guys, and stay tuned on my channel to know when the next webinar is going to be about this course and my other offerings as well. Thank you guys so much, and I really look forward to all of the amazing healers that want to grow together. Let's evolve.